Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. This one is all about the karmic and spiritual consequences this person is going to face for how they treated you. So if someone treated you badly, did you wrong, was nasty to you, this is a great reading to watch. We are going to dive into all the karma that's happening, all the consequences on the spiritual realm that this person is going to face for their behavior. And today we have a selection of different cards for you to choose from. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. Basically, you're going to see which of these cards is sticking out to you, calling your name, drawing your attention in towards it. And then as soon as you make up your mind, just scroll down to the timestamps in the comments and the description and jump right into your pile. And if you like how I read tarot, then you can see more of it over on my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon. And then you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So you get to be the first to watch them. I just posted readings all about messages from your body, as well as an exciting event happening in your near future. But like I said, there's so much content to choose from. And then you get to be the first to watch all my YouTube videos. I'm also posting a little bit less over on YouTube as I go through a break. So Patreon is where you can find most of my content. If that sounds good to you, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description and jump or go into Patreon, and I would love to see you there. And for right now, I'm also, because I'm on this break, not doing private readings. So if that's something you're into, you can book in advance, and I will be resuming private readings in a few months. So if you're interested in booking a time slot for the future, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and you can book in advance, but I'm not doing them right now, just a heads up. But anyways, guys, that's all I have to say. So if you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need, but we're going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey, pile one, welcome to your reading. Let's get into your cards. We are going to see what their karma is, their spiritual consequences for how they treated you. What is their karma? Wow, I'm already getting kind of some downloads. So we got many mass, authentic self, netcaster, preparations come to fruition, root girl, the disowned self, deep quiet meditation and stillness. So the first thing I'm getting is like the person's identity that they are facing forward with the world, like the way they present themselves is so far different from the actual reality. This could also be someone who just has a very distorted self-image, like someone who sees themselves as really smart, but they're not, or someone who sees themselves as really compassionate and sweet and nice, and they're not. And I feel like in a way, like that's part of the punishment, like just this delusion, and then seeing the actual reality just be so different from the image or the script this person has in their mind. You know, like this could be that kind of parent who thinks they're like an amazing parent and then is so shocked that like their children don't want anything to do with them, or the person who's like convinced like I'm just so smart and I'm doing so well at my job, and then they're just completely shocked that like they don't get the promotion or that someone gets the promotion over them. I just keep getting that this person is literally deeply delusional, and it goes beyond like just their interactions with you, or like it really supersedes all aspects of life. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like for them, it's too painful to acknowledge reality. And that's almost also making me think that there's like a lot of like shadow, because usually when someone is like very divorced from reality, they developed that as like a coping mechanism at some time. You know, it's almost like it's too painful for me to tell myself the truth, so I have to lie all the time to myself. And then that becomes very difficult to self-actualize or heal or grow anything once you're habitually lying. It's kind of like if you've ever had a relationship with someone who is lying a lot or who doesn't really tell the truth, and at a certain point you just like start tuning them out because you're like, okay, this person's probably lying. You know, even if they have good intentions, even if they're the kind of person that they're lying because they're trying to be nice, or they're, you know, they're going to tell you like you did a great job on the project, and you know you didn't do a good job on the project, But you're not going to ask that person at a certain point. You're not going to go to them and say like, hey, how did I do? What were your thoughts about my presentation? Because you know they're going to BS you. And I feel like that's one of the disadvantages this person has, is it's like they are literally not living in reality. And I feel like for them, it's almost like a shock to the system anytime something happens, anytime they have to go through life, because their self-image is so distorted and so different from what they actually experience in reality. I feel like this person also just doesn't have the like mentality or the thick skin to see themselves clearly. And this is the thing, is like they're trying to protect their ego by lying to themselves. They're trying to act like, you know, everything's fine and telling themselves that. And they don't want to kind of have this painful realization about what's actually going on. So they end up, like I said, kind of lying. And then I feel like this person is in a state of shock when those delusions don't happen. So it's almost like when you tell yourself, you know, oh, my outfit looks really good. And maybe you're a little insecure in the mirror, but then most of the time nothing super bad happens. But imagine you tell yourself like, yeah, no, you look great. And the polka dots are really cute. And then next thing you know, you go out in public and someone's like, nice polka dots, you look like a loser. And it's just like, that's even more jarring because you spent time gassing yourself up and telling yourself how good you look and being like, no, it's fine, no one's judging my polka dots. And then to have everyone hate on it, it's almost like 10 times worse than if you had just told yourself, yeah, maybe these polka dots don't look so good. You know, obviously this is a metaphor, but I feel like there's a lot of this person almost having to pick themselves back up every day, you know, tell themselves, you're really great, you're really smart, everything's awesome about you, because their realization of what they're actually doing in their life would be so sad and so pathetic for what they actually want to be, and for their self-image, the self-importance they put on themselves, and then like looking in the mirror and realizing how far away they are from that, if that makes sense. So I feel like that's a big part of this karma, is just the fact that their lived reality is so different from the self-importance they keep giving themselves in their mind, and how they feel they should be treated, how they feel people should be deferring to them or listening to them. And then kind of this slap in the face that like, no one thinks that, no one really cares what you think, no one's listening to your opinion. The effort it takes to get themselves back up and put themselves back in like, no, okay, you're doing great. And then realizing, or it's kind of like a person who's delusional and thinks they can date, like they think of themselves as like a Brad Pitt, you know, and they think of themselves as so good looking. And then they go out and they try to date, and none of the people they think are in their league are responding to them. You know, none of the people that they told themselves like, oh, she's kind of below me, but I'll still message her. And she ends up blocking him, you know? So I feel like there's just this kind of habitual eating away at the ego that happens with them, and kind of this jarring sense of disorientation that I'm getting from this person. Like, what the heck's going on? Why am I not getting the respect that I deserve? And I do feel like that goes into bitterness, but so much of this person's negligent or bad behavior really is just being an idiot, being stupid, being delusional, not seeing things clearly, and just kind of like, I also feel like this person may have had big dreams or big goals. I mean, this is like harsh, but I have Pluto square Mercury at 0 degrees, so I'm just going to say it. But I feel like this person had big dreams or big goals of what they wanted to accomplish or achieve in life, like things they wanted to do, things they wanted to make happen, kind of like, I am going to set the world on fire. And some of what's coming through is just this bitterness of not having accomplished that, and maybe feeling insecure, because I feel like this person does measure themselves to other people. Like they do compare, and they are aware that on some level they're like lacking in some way, and it really does get to them, you know? There is this sense of not being good enough. There is this sense of insecurity, and there is this sense of, I want to say just straight up failure, you know, coming through, like not measuring up in any way that they thought that they would. Let me get into these cards for you. Pile number 1. So we want to know what the karmic consequences, spiritual consequences are going to be for pile number 1. 6th chakra archangel Metatron, the temple path. 5th chakra archangel Gabriel. Wow, pile 1. Envy. Yes, I feel like so much of it came down to envy of you. However this person treated you is envy. And this is what I'm saying, is this person's failure in life. And I would probably, that's you guys, woman holding a coin. I would probably have a lot more sympathy and like not try to be as harsh if I did. I really feel like so much of their energy is motivated by envy, and this person is an envious person because they are always comparing themselves and because they don't really measure up. And of course, I would have empathy for that. Like, it sucks to try and fail. I mean, trust me, I was on every sports team growing up and never did well enough to like actually do anything with my, athletic abilities. So I get that feeling where you're like trying, you're pushing yourself and you're failing, and it's really frustrating. And I would never kind of like tease someone about that, but I feel like this person has such a bitter, angry energy about it. They're so envious, and they're also so blocking their envy. Instead of acknowledging it, like, of course, it can be normal to be disappointed, to feel a little upset, like, oh, I really tried and I didn't measure up, or even to feel a little jealous or comparing yourself, comparative of, oh, this person did this and I'm here and I wish I could get there. That's totally normal and human. But I feel like this person, instead of just coming clean with themselves about what's going on and acknowledging that and being like, I think my envy is eating away at me and it's kind of a problem, they just lie and tell themselves how awesome they are. And I feel like they're the kind of person that nitpicks away and will like find things wrong with you, or will try to project that. Like, anytime they feel that sense of failure, anytime they feel that sense of like, I didn't accomplish what I wanted to, or I'm not where I would like to be at, instead of like internalizing that and unpacking that and being like, okay, what's going on with me? Why do I feel this way? Why am I so upset? They just kind of like project it out. They find someone to direct it at, especially if they see anyone doing better than them or anyone who has a lot of success. That really irks this person. And then they're almost like, let me take this person down, let me sabotage, let me ruin them, let me hurt them. And they just become this very base, like low vibrational level, angry, toxic, like plotting and planning, waiting for an opportunity, trying to humiliate. And it's like a child, that almost like can't stand to see someone else enjoying a toy. And even if they never wanted that toy before, they see someone else happily playing and living their best life and happy and joyful, and they start resenting it and they start being like, that should be mine. And it's just so deeply immature and like silly and stupid. And I feel like this person finds themselves in these kinds of situations. It's almost like they're kind of a coward as well. And they're always looking for an opportunity. They're always, if they see someone doing well, they're always going to look for an option to like slide in and humiliate, or to get under the person's skin, or to attack them. And again, it's just so deeply unconscious. That's what's irking me about it, is like, if you were to ask this person or call them out about it, or say like, hey, what's your problem? Or why are you doing this? They'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm not doing anything. I'm completely innocent. And they almost have given themselves this moral high ground where they'll be like, oh, I'm the innocent one. I'm the pure one. I'm not doing anything wrong, even though they are. And they're very much an instigator, but they like lie about it, and they pretend, and they kind of like act that they're not doing anything bad, or that like, what are you talking about? I'm completely innocent. And it's just so, like I said, juvenile and stupid. And it honestly really annoys me to see how this person acts, because I do feel like they really won't own up to it. It's so irritating because you can't pin them down. Like I said, I have a Mercury squaring Pluto at 0 degrees, and I think one thing about those placements, like Mercury Pluto aspects, or Plutonian people in general, or Scorpio people in general, Scorpio Mercury, is we really hate when people like lie and don't own up to things. And we want that deep, honest truth, like whatever it is. And I feel like this person is just so like squirrely and hard to pin down and will come up with 500 different reasons, and they would never admit, because I really feel like part of this person's identity as well is like, I'm such a good person. They lie to themselves about that. They tell themselves they're actually super moral, they're super kind, they're just like a sweet-hearted little angel. And the reality is they're like the biggest hater, and they're the person who's like the most negative intentions more than anyone else. Like they really don't want to see anyone do well. They really are so freaking bitter, but they would never own up to that. And they would constantly like lie and gaslight. And even if you tried to call them out on it or say like, hey, you seemed a little shady and bitter, you seemed like you weren't being completely supportive or whatever, I feel like this person would just turn it back on you. Like they really have no integrity, and they just are like a total liar. I have to be honest. And a lot of it is lying towards themselves. And honestly, I feel like deep down inside, there is this deep feeling of inadequacy and feelings of not being good enough. And this is why they end up competing. This is why they end up with their BS, starting drama, because even with themselves, they can't be honest. Even with themselves, if they were to admit all these kinds of moral failings they have, it would like really violate their sense of self. And they do also feel like they need to have a sense of superiority. I feel like this person, because they know they can't measure up in other ways, and because they have so much envy and they know they can't compete on multiple levels, so they end up trying to take like the moral high ground. They end up trying to be like, well, maybe I'm not the most intelligent or successful or good looking person, but you know what? I'm better than that person. And this person's immoral. And it's also like that gives this person kind of carte blanche to be like, okay, so anything I do to them is fine. So I can humiliate them. I can go out of my way to be mean to them or cruel to them. And you know what? It's all good because this person's a horrible person. And they're just really like taking the brakes off themselves entirely. You know, they don't hold themselves to any kind of standard. They really just let themselves do whatever the heck they want to do. So if they want to be mean, dysfunctional, cruel, they're going to do that, you know? And I feel like that really gets this person into spiritual or karmic trouble, because it's funny. It's almost like they can fool people in the short term, and they can really convince and like put on a good show of like, see what a jerk this other person is. But karmically speaking, it is so bad for them. And that's what I was saying when we got 5th chakra Archangel Gabriel and 6th chakra Archangel Metatron, those two coming off the jump, is I feel like you guys are so spiritually protected, and when they mess with you, they really mess with the wrong person, and they are definitely going to get strong karma for that. They could also have karma with the throat chakra and the third eye chakra around having their like intelligence questioned. Again, if this person wants to take the moral high ground and look like they're such a good person and so deep and so sweet and spiritual, I feel like there's also this contrast between like how they show up in the world and maybe the fact that they think of themselves as like a deep thinker, very wise, very spiritual, and then people's reactions to them, which is like people aren't that impressed. Like it's almost giving me the vibe that this person could pretend to be like a fake guru, fake shaman, or someone who is just like constantly talking about like, I don't know, social justice issues, or trying to seem really moral, very virtuous, like trying to act like they care about, I don't know, feminism or racism or, you know, wealth inequality, whatever the case may be. And all of it is just deeply inside, they are screaming for like, please pay attention to me. Please be nice to me. Please notice how smart I am. And they're literally waiting for some moment when someone is going to be like, oh my God, you are the most moral person. You deserve the Nobel Peace Prize. And wow, you're such a good guy. Wow, I can't believe you're a guy and you're a feminist. Or, oh, I can't believe you've been petitioning for more, low income housing. And this person literally wants to be like starring in their own like Aaron Brockovich movie. They really want, on some level, it may not be social justice too. It could be something else. It could be just that they want to seem super Christian, or they want to seem like the nicest person at the bake sale, like, oh wow, you cooked the best snickerdoodles. But I feel like this person keeps waiting for that moment when someone is going to pull back and like shine the spotlight on them and be like, wow, oh, you're exceptional. And I feel like that's also the karma that happens, is like that just never happens. They never get this fantasy moment that they want, where someone rolls out the red carpet for them and talks about what a beautiful angel they are and how deep they are and how amazing and kind. And that's really what this person wants. They really want the attention on them. They're not actually like a moral person. They're actually very, very nasty down inside. They're very mean-spirited. They're very short-sighted. But what they really, really want is to have someone to like shine a spotlight on them and pat them on the back and give them some kind of credit and tell them what a little angel they are. And that's the only reason they're doing it. Like I said, they don't actually believe in any of these things. It's like that, male feminist who's like the most predatory one of all, or something like that. Someone who says they're, I don't know, anti-racist, and then they end up being engaged in the most racist stuff or whatever. So it's like, that's the thing. This person doesn't mean any of it. They just end up doing this because they kind of want to get ahead. And they also are so divorced from their own kind of spiritual insight and their own genuine intuition, that they also don't feel comfortable really acting out of a place of authenticity. So they kind of like parrot lines and say what they think will come off as smart, or say what they think is going to come off as intelligent or progressive or really sweet, nice, Christian, whatever the case may be. And they keep kind of using that and then being disappointed because no one is clapping for them. Because the thing is, they're not leading any discussions. They're just parroting back what they think they're going to get praised for, and then being mad because it's like, oh yeah, everyone's already been saying this for a long time and no one's that impressed with what you said. No one finds you to be like a dynamic, genuinely provocative, genuinely innovative, or like groundbreaking speaker. You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like with this person, there's just this deep divorce, like I said, from where they would like to be and what they would want to embody and where they're actually at in the world. So I want to get into some of these tarot cards for you. Pile number 1. We're actually going to do a really quick shuffle and see what this person's karma or spiritual consequences is going to be. What is this person's karma or spiritual consequences? Let's see what Spirit has to say. So we got the Strength card. What is this person's karma? What are their spiritual consequences, Spirit? What is this person's karma? What are their spiritual consequences? Okay, the 3 of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, the 9 of Pentacles. Because Spirit is telling me something with the 3 of Pentacles when I tune into that like they didn't get to see the reaction from you that they wanted. Okay, this is too many cards actually, Spirit. 1 or 2 cards at a time. 1 or 2 cards at a time. But what Spirit is telling me is they didn't get the reaction from you that they wanted. Like they still felt like you retained your dignity and you retained your strength, and they may have been trying to, with the 6 of Wands, humiliate you in public or try to have everyone turn against you. And then I feel like that didn't happen. I feel like with the 9 of Pentacles, you've retained your own power. You have stood strong and you've kept your kind of grace and decorum. Like you haven't allowed this person to make a fool of you. And I feel like that's what gets under this person's skin the most. They truly were looking for like a moment to like I keep thinking of a movie like Erin Brockovich, or I think there's a movie like Sally Mae or Norma Ray or something where she stands up in front of like a factory and like is like, no more, we're not doing this. And everyone claps. And I feel like this person wanted that moment and they wanted to kind of take you down in the process. They wanted to humiliate you, or they wanted to have everyone agree with their side. And then it's like, you're out in the cold, or you're the odd one out, or you're pushed out. And I feel like you just stood really strong. I feel like you didn't let anyone get under your skin. You didn't let yourself show weakness, even if you did feel like you didn't get treated that well. You didn't let it yourself show that. You didn't allow yourself to get overwhelmed or freak out or panic. And I feel like that's what this person wanted. They wanted to kind of shake things up and destabilize you. And they wanted to see you like cry or be weak or act like an idiot and maybe not know what to say. And I feel like your energy was just very aligned. I also feel like you guys definitely have karma on your side, and you are 1000% protected in a way that this person is not, and maybe doesn't know what they're getting into. So they may find this karmic energy directed right back at them. Like they may be shocked that they end up in this kind of same situation, you know, like what they tried to do to you or how they tried to humiliate you, whatever, ends up just being directed like a boomerang right back at themselves. And they end up in this same situation. They end up having to defend themselves, or they end up having to explain themselves, or they end up feeling really like whatever they tried to do to you, if they tried to humiliate you, if they tried to undercut you, if they tried to sabotage you at work, they find themselves in that exact same situation. And this person is also very jealous of the way other people react to you. They see you as Three of Cups, Nine of Pentacles, Six of Wands, someone that other people really admire, someone that has their life together and is charismatic with the Knight of Wands, someone that is maybe eye-catching or very visually attractive and may stand out in that way, like, oh wow, who is that? That person's very put together. That person looks really good. So that's another source of irritation for this person, because in their mind, they don't want anyone else getting this attention. They do feel so deep down inside angry about their mediocrity, angry about the way people react to them, because again, keep in mind, this person feels like they should basically be getting a ticker tape parade. Like they feel like they should be applauded. They feel like they should be the center of attention. They feel like everyone should be like looking out for them and being like, wow, look at pile number one, this person is amazing. Wow, look at this person. Look at them go. They're so smart. They're so well spoken. And I feel like they never get any of that reaction. And instead, most of the time, they get ignored. People overlook them. People don't really care about them. Whereas you definitely take center stage and take the spotlight in a way this person could only dream of. So that's another thing that gets under their skin, is they really had that intention to like humiliate you, make you look bad, make you feel bad. And instead, you just stood your ground and you were like, absolutely not. And you stayed strong in who you are. And that really gets under this person's skin as well, because that's the fantasy they had, was like ripping you down so they could lift themselves up. And instead, you just stood so strong. And I feel like they're definitely going to get their karma from that. Like I said, I feel like this person, they didn't even realize kind of what they messed with and what they brought down the pipeline for themselves, where I feel like you guys are so divinely protected and so looked after that, like, you may not actually get lucky enough to witness this, but trust me, they're going to have a big karmic moment of reckoning. They are going to have a big karmic moment where this exact same energy gets directed back at them, and they're not going to be able to stand as strong as you did, because they don't have the same backbone, they don't have the same intelligence, and they don't have the same charisma, that's for sure. So it's kind of like their punishment is just another day in mediocrity, just another day of, honestly, I want to say, and it's harsh, but I guess Mercury squares Pluto for me, so I'm gonna say it. just another day of being a loser, like in comparison, you know, and constantly trying to get themselves out of that, to make themselves stand out, to be different or cool or be the one that gets admired, and it just never working for them. So that is what I have for you, pile number one. I really hope that resonates, guys. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you, hearing your thoughts, stories, your reactions. So let me know what you think. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe. All of that really helps the channel. And if you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. There is so much content to choose from over on Patreon. I just posted a reading all about messages from your body, but there's, like I said, so much content that you can go through. There's also a message about an exciting thing happening in your future. But like I said, lots of content to choose from, and then you get to be the first to watch my YouTube videos. I'm also posting more on Patreon and kind of slowing down here on YouTube. So if that interests you, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description and join me on Patreon. And for right now, I'm also not really doing private readings. I'm going to resume them in a couple months, but just taking a bit of a break. So for right now, no private readings. But if you would like to book one in the future, then you can head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So that's what I have for you today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile two, welcome to your reading. Let's get into your cards and see what kind of karmic consequences, spiritual consequences this person is going to get. What kind of karmic or spiritual consequences is this person going to get? Okay, we got lost in space, needing direction, falling angel, spiritual narcolepsy, lay of the land, ancestral wisdom, stranger curiosity. Okay, I am getting a really mean-spirited energy from this person. It feels like whatever they did to you, they did it deliberately. And this person, it just feels like their energy is so full of kind of like hate, or just so full of this antagonistic, like, I feel like this person is always comparing themselves. They always are just deeply competitive, very envious, and just ready. It's almost like they're ready to fight. It's almost like they're looking for a reason, you know? And what's coming through is, trust me, they find reasons. Meaning, like, actually this person could have a lot of conflict around them, and I feel like there's a very dark energy around them, if I'm being honest. Like, I wouldn't even be surprised if some of them are like involved somehow in like black magic, dark magic, or just have a whole lot of karmic debt. Like, I feel like this person is like drowning. You know how sometimes you could find out about someone and they're like super in debt, and then it's like they're like $600,000 in debt or $1 million in debt, and you're like, oh my god, how did that even happen, you know? And that's what I'm getting the vibe with this person. Like, they are so angry all the time. What I'm getting is this person, first of all, has had a difficult life. So that's the first thing, and a lot of it has had to do with their karma, how they've lived their life. Trust me, it has paid off on them, and it has really mess with them. They may have grown up in a really difficult, mean family with that lay of the land, ancestral wisdom. Not to say I'm not justifying it, but maybe it might make you even feel better to know that like all the hate they've directed is coming from a place inside of them that maybe they did deal with it in childhood, or they learned that this was just how people acted. People are mean, people are cruel because their parents were cruel to them or whatever. Another thing is, I feel like their parents are very harsh with them, or they have a family member who's very harsh with them. And this family member, I feel like, is always judging them. Like, they have the kind of thing where they are very also status conscious. Like, this person is very, I want to say, materialistic. Like, they're the kind of person that is always measuring themselves with their money. They want to seem bougie. They're very shallow. This person is extremely shallow-minded. And I feel like that, again, comes from the family somehow. Like they had family members who would judge them that way. And it's almost like if there was someone prettier in their kindergarten class, that parent would make negative comments about that or say, oh, you're so ugly compared to like Brittany or whatever. So this person has learned to internalize this message that they're not good enough, that they don't measure up, and that they need to be better or they need to be the best one. Or if Brittany is pretty, then I can't be pretty. So they're very competitive in how they view the world. And they're always coming from that place of lack that I feel like gets triggered a lot. Like this person, I feel like they could walk down the street and they're triggered by like everything and everyone, because again, they have such a sense of competitiveness and they really feel almost under attack because they always feel so inadequate. Because I feel like in this person's dream world, they would be like a king, a queen, a princess, a prince. They would be like a duke or a duchess or whatever the case may be. Like they want that elevated position. They would be a supermodel or a famous actress. You know, they are so deep down to their core, like insecure about themselves. And it's funny because I did live in LA, and that's one thing you notice about a lot of celebrities, I have to be honest, is like so many of them have this weirdly competitive or insecure side. And I think this is why people say like, oh my gosh, dealing with a lot of these celebrities, it's like they're a bottomless pit of attention. And that's how this person is giving me the vibe, but they're like not a celebrity, I don't think. If they are, I don't know. But the point is, even when you see these celebrities in person, you realize even them getting that attention doesn't fill that hole, doesn't feel that sense of inadequacy. And the same goes for this person. Like they are just in a constant state of need, of being triggered, of being upset, of wanting that attention on them and getting resentful whenever they see anyone looking better than them. And that's why we got stranger curiosity. It's like every stranger they see, they are upset by. You know, maybe if someone is completely down on their luck and really looks bad, then this person won't get upset. But it's like they are activated all the time. And it's almost like pile number two, it is a compliment that this person was triggered by you or upset by you or hating on you, because trust me, if they weren't hating on you, that would be a bad sign, you know, because it shows that you're just basically functional, that this person was hating, because like it takes so little for this person to be upset. It's funny, Spirit is showing me this little funny image of a little anecdote I have from when I had first moved to LA, and I feel like I'm supposed to tell this story, so I'll just tell it quickly. But the first time I was shopping in this one store in LA that a lot of celebrities go to, but it's kind of a small store, and I was looking around trying to find these certain items. It was my first time in the store, so I like didn't know where anything was, and I saw this like older female celebrity, and I immediately clocked her like, oh, okay, wow, that's so-and-so, cool. But my mom is from New York, and she'd always told me, when you see a celebrity, just pretend like you don't know them. And that's the polite thing to do, because that's what most of the celebrities in New York like. I didn't realize that I was in LA and it was a totally different ball game, right? So I'm like trying to kind of avert my eyes, act like I don't see her. And I didn't realize how many celebrities have this complex that they don't really want to go unnoticed. So I was like ignoring her. And then I noticed I'm going back and forth. Again, this is my first time in the store, so I'm kind of lost and disoriented. And I realized like this lady's going into every aisle I'm going into, to the point where I'm like having to double back on aisles because I'm like confused. And I'd be like, oh, where is this? Oh, okay, let me go into this aisle and let me double back here. And she's still following me, and it's starting to get kind of weird. And again, I'm trying to ignore her, trying to give her space. But it finally dawns on me, like, this lady's like basically following me. And I'm like, what is going on? And I thought to Spirit, like, okay, what should I do? How should I handle this? And I felt like Spirit, like the energy coming from this woman was basically like, notice me. I want to be acknowledged. So finally I'm like, I don't know, because, you know, my mom had always told me, oh, just ignore, don't look, just pretend they're not there. but I'm like, I just think she really wants me to look at her. So finally, I'm like, she follows me to the next aisle, and I like double back, look over at her, and I kind of like do a almost like comical look, like widen my eyes slightly. You do a little like, oh wow, is that so and so? And I see this lady, she makes eye contact with me, and then she looks me over really dismissively up and down. And then she kind of moves on and then moves into another aisle, and she finally leaves. And there it was like over. She stopped following me around. She stopped trying to engage with me. And to me, that was such a big lesson, because I feel like if you've lived in LA or been around celebrities, you know this energy where so many of them will be like, oh, I don't want to be followed by paparazzi, or I don't want to be looked at. But if you don't look at them, if you don't acknowledge them, they get really in their feelings, right? And the story, I guess why that I feel like Spirit is bringing that up, is that I was thinking afterwards, why the heck did this lady want to get an acknowledgement from me? Like, I'm a nobody. I'm not famous. I'm not a celebrity. I'm just a random chick. But I swear, I still to this day am convinced she was following me around because she wanted me to look. And because even though I was technically a nobody, she really needed that validation. And to me, that shows how deep that well goes, that unsolved, that unfinished, like, emotional side, where there's this deep emotional absence or this gap or this unfilled wound that they can't fill anywhere. So they're constantly seeking out validation from like a random stranger that doesn't even know them. And frankly, this like lady, she's like an older celebrity, and she's still not like a nobody, but it's almost like as well, like maybe she's at the point in her career where she can't really expect, she's not like a household name anymore. And I just thought it was like, wow, to be that age and still you want some random young woman who, you know, has like nothing really particularly going on for her, and you're still obsessed and like mad that she's not looking at you. And then when she does look at you, you have to like throw your nose up at her. I don't know. I just think there's something so interesting about that psychology. And that's what this person is making me think of, is like they can't help themselves. You know, they cannot help themselves from seeking out this validation. They really have an inner core wound that is like driving them to act this way. And they don't even realize what's going on. They don't even realize why they're always in conflict, or why they're always pissed off, or why they're always upset. They never get it, because for them, they just, all they can feel is the wound. All they can feel is the absence. All they can feel is the like, why won't this person look at me? Or why am I not being treated? Like, I think in this person's mind, they felt like they should still be on the level of, you know, the most A-list, like Angelina Jolie or Brad Pitt or something. They felt like they should still have like all heads turning like towards Beyonce or Rihanna or Taylor Swift. You know, in their mind, they should still be like A plus list, and they couldn't handle that change. And that's kind of the vibe this person is giving me, is they really feel like they should have the red carpet rolled out for them. They really feel like everyone should stop and like heads should turn and everyone should be like in awe of them. And it really irks them. It really gets under their skin that they don't get that reaction. And instead that most people are like, who are you? Like, okay, I don't know you. And they just cannot stand that. Like, this person's ego is so fragile, and they're constantly in this place of expecting people to notice them and then being so disappointed and so angry when that doesn't happen. Let me get into some of these cards for you. Pile number 2. So we want to know what the, I hope you guys could hear this and my microphone wasn't too messed up. Let me see though. We want to know about the spiritual consequences and karma that this person may be getting. Okay, so we got the World, yin, yang. What are the spiritual consequences and karma for this person's spirit? Door to value, journey, woman holding a heart, angel of strength, and this one says man holding a heart. Okay, so part of it is this person feeling very unloved. They would like to have a different romantic life. They would like to feel adored. They would like to feel like everyone is in awe of their beauty and can't help falling in love with them. They would like to feel like everyone is noticing them in a romantic context. And again, I feel like that's where the disappointment comes in. The other thing with, wait, I was just channeling something. It popped into my mind, but it's going to come back. The point is, with woman holding a heart, man holding a heart, I feel like this person's romantic life has been a big disappointment and may continue to be a disappointment. That's a karmic spiritual consequence for this person. I feel like this person has been lied to a lot by people and played. Like they've attracted players, users, people that don't have their best interest at heart. They have really had their heart shattered. They have really been, put through the ringer a little bit romantically. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if this person was honestly cheated on, and I'm not trying to say like, oh, you deserve it if you were cheated on, but obviously, karma comes through in all kinds of different ways. And I feel like the disrespect this person has experienced in their romantic relationships, the way they have been treated with so little concern. Again, this person is the kind of person where like they're so shallow that they always thought if they could get hot enough or good looking enough that they would have the kind of love they wanted. And I feel like that has been the complete opposite. There is this sense of superiority they've had about their looks, around how they look and dress and how they present to the world. And then I feel like they thought almost like, oh, that'll protect me. I'll be good because I look so good, because I'm putting all this effort into my appearance, because I'm so fabulous looking and I'm so glamorous. Everyone's going to love me. It's kind of like that lady in the store in LA, the older celebrity lady, where I feel like she has not had a super happy love life either. And I feel like for her, maybe she thought if she was the cutest, sexiest, best looking woman, and maybe that's why she was kind of pressed about another younger woman walking through the store and not recognizing her, because there was this competitive vibe I felt from her as well. And I feel like with this person, they can't help but competing. They're always competing. They're always used to, like, in their mind, they feel like they look better. They feel like they put more effort into their appearance, and yet their reality doesn't follow through with that. They're never getting the kind of love that they feel like they deserve, or they feel like they should have, or they feel like they are owed. And instead of getting that kind of love, they're kind of like ignored. People are like, okay, yeah, whatever, and don't really care that much about this person's, like I said, physical appearance. Like, I feel like they want to blow people over. They want people to be in awe. They want people to be like stopping on the street, taking pictures of them. And instead, I feel like they get mostly ignored. Like, I honestly felt bad for that older female celebrity, just because I'm like, wow, she was a sex symbol back in her day. And I'm sure it's hard to go from that and probably having everyone recognize you to being in the middle, because this was also in the middle of the day. One thing you realize about when you live in LA is celebrities who actually don't want to be recognized, they always go run their errands either late at night or way early in the morning. Usually it's way early in the morning, and they never pretty much go out in the middle of the day to some of these crowded hotspots. So like they would never go out to like the Grove at like 1 p.m. on a Saturday, because they would get mobbed, So if you actually want to see celebrities and you're in LA, definitely like go to some of these hotspots at like 7 in the morning, or go at 6 a.m. if it's opening at 6 a.m., or go super late at night at like 10 p.m., because that's the only time you're going to see any major celebrity, because any other mid-level, any kind of celebrity is going to get gawked at and stared at if they're out and about in the middle of the day. And she was out and about in the middle of the day, and it felt like she was very much looking to see who's going to notice me. And that's the thing. I feel like this person, they want the attention. They want it so bad. They want to be singled out. They want people to be like, oh my God, who is this person? They're gorgeous. They're an angel. They're so successful. They're so wealthy. Again, with that door to value card, I feel like they also are comparing themselves to you and maybe your money situation. And it feels like your money situation is better, or they see you as more bougie, more glamorous, more exciting. They really think they should be treated like a king or a queen or a celebrity. And it really irks them that you have this deep sense of inner self-worth that has nothing to do with their treatment of you. So Yeah, it is this kind of lopsided idea of like how the world views them versus how they view themselves. And that is a constant clash for this person. That is a constant like drumbeat in their mind of like, how dare they treat me like this? How dare they not acknowledge me? How dare they not treat me like the queen I am and roll out the red carpet for me and be so impressed by me? This person with the world card, they want center stage. They want people to notice them. They want people to stand around and, stare at them up on a screen, and they really cannot stand that not only doesn't happen, but I feel like there are many people in their life that also don't really care about them. Like if they are in a relationship, it's not even just that like they're not getting stared at by strangers, but they may have a partner that treats them really bad or cheats on them repeatedly or makes it clear to them that like I'm not attracted to you anymore, or they're constantly getting ignored romantically. Like they're not able to get a date or they're not able to. But I also feel like a lot of this is in interpersonal relationships. And that's part of the reason why this person has become so mean, is because they have been treated really badly in interpersonal relationships. They may have had a partner who like habitually cheated on them or just treated them so badly, was really mean to them, was really harsh, was like maybe verbally abusive, or I don't know. Like this is just, I feel like this person has had so much pain from that and they're very bitter. They're very bitter because they feel like not only are they not getting treated how they deserve, which is like center stage red carpet treatment by a random stranger, and they still think they're entitled to that, but with their actual loved ones, they have loved ones that love to be mean to them and that actually couldn't give an F about their feelings or their emotions and go out of their way to be cruel to them. So it's like a double whammy. It's such a difference between how they feel they should be viewed, how they want to be viewed by the world, and how they're actually getting treated, not only by strangers, but actually by loved ones as well. So let me get into these cards for you, some tarot for you. Pile number 2. So we want to know what is going to be this person's karma for how they treated pile number 2. Okay, so we got, okay, that's too many cards. We want 1 or 2 cards at a time, Spirit. Just 1 or 2 at a time. The 5 of Swords, 5 of Wands. Okay, the 5s in tarot are not positive. So 5 of Swords and 5 of Wands especially, this person definitely is getting some karma. This could be constant conflict. Oh, look, the star. That's perfect. Because again, this person really wants to be the star and they really have delusions around it. And I feel like instead they've had to like watch you shine, watch you do well, watch people be noticing you. And that gets under their skin. Trust me, pile number 2, this person was comparing themselves so hard to you. It's like they were so bothered by seeing you do so well, or just seeing you. I don't even feel like you were trying to do anything. You were just minding your business. But this person is so upset. Like they feel your energy or your radiance or the attention you get from others, like they would do anything to get some of it. They may literally be jealous of like your features, your looks, your vibe. Ooh, Justice card reversed. They're definitely going to get some bad karma. 2 of Pentacles reversed and the 2 of Swords. So this could also be this person getting karma with things not moving ahead in their life. Like if they want a certain outcome, if they want to do really well in their career, or they want to move somewhere, or they want to publish a book, this could be things just being really blocked with that and like not happening. Like this person being unable to make some forward momentum with their career, or being unable to, maybe they're like, I really want to buy a house, and they're just never able to save up the money for that. I know that's harsh to say, and like of course there's lots of problems with the job or the housing markets in various countries right now. But I just feel like this person is frustrated, and it does have to do a little bit with their finances. Because again, this person's so shallow, so materialistic that in their mind, they really deserve to be living in a mansion. And it's like a humbling experience for them that not only can they not afford a mansion, but they're living in like something really shabby, really run down. I feel like this person actually really loves glamour. They really love nice things. They really love um, over the top kind of luxury. And it's really irritating to them that they don't have access to that on the level that they would want. Again, I feel like this person is just so shallow. A lot of the things that they care about, a lot of the things that bothers them have to do with like signifiers of power or money or status. And again, I feel like that's where the anger comes in because they really don't have much. And that was their karma that they were supposed to experience. Or even if they have some, it's not on the level they want. They want like complete deference, and they want people to just bend over backwards for them. And like I said, treat them like a queen or a princess. Um, and I feel like it irritates them that they're not like walking down the street and having heads turn or having people like take pictures of them. Um, I feel like that for them is like such a huge punishment. And they're constantly comparing themselves to others. Like if someone gets a new dress, they're comparing themselves to like, why don't I have that dress? Or if someone has a boyfriend, why don't I have that boyfriend? Why don't I have a partner like that? This is so unfair. She doesn't deserve it. I should have it. I should be the one. And they're just super kind of vengeful and angry and low vibrational with that. Like they really are someone that spends a lot of time stewing about it, spends a lot of time being like angry and upset that they don't have what they should have and that someone else has more than them, because in their mind they should be getting it all. They should be the one that is like completely all eyes on them, no one comes close. And they can't stand to have like any competitor. They can't stand to have anyone getting close or anyone who's not just bowing down. I feel like this person is just going to be this deep cycle of disappointment, this deep cycle of being upset, being angry, feeling annoyed with that, feeling like this is just not fair. This isn't how it's supposed to be. I'm supposed to be the powerful one. I'm supposed to be the one who calls the shots. And why am I not there? Why is this not happening? So like I said, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance coming through. There's a lot of this person's expectations jarring and clashing with reality and how this person views themselves. And it kind of like, because they have wanted these big things, they've had these big dreams and big goals, and they've told themselves like, you'll achieve it one day, you're going to be a star. And so the fact that that hasn't happened, and then they have to live in kind of this mediocrity, wow, that just really, really gets under their skin. And yeah, I feel like this person, trust me, they're triggered a lot. It's not just you. They are in a constant state of like overdrive and anger and being annoyed. They're so jealous and so competitive, and they're always comparing themselves to everyone else. And they're always finding a reason to be mad. So, again, take it as a compliment that they were bothered by you, because if they weren't, you would have something to worry about. This person gets mad whenever someone has more than them, whenever someone's better than them or more attractive or whatever. So it is a compliment. And trust me, they have so much karma coming their way. Their life is like a karmic thing. They've already experienced a lot of this karma because they're already so bitter. They've already been disrespected so many times. And it's just going to continue. Like they are just in a place of real bitterness, resentment, and like constant jealousy, constant feelings of why am I not being treated the way I should? And it just really gets under their skin. So that is what I have for you. Pile number 2. I really hope that resonates. Let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you, hearing your thoughts, stories, your reactions. So let me know what you think. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe. All of that really helps the channel. And if you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. There is so much content to choose from over on Patreon. I just posted a reading all about messages from your body, but there's, like I said, so much content that you can go through. There's also a message about an exciting thing happening in your future. But like I said, lots of content to choose from, and then you get to be the first to watch my YouTube videos. I'm also posting more on Patreon and kind of slowing down here on YouTube. So if that interests you, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description and join me on Patreon. And for right now, I'm also not really doing private readings. I'm going to resume them in a couple months, but just taking a bit of a break. So for right now, no private readings, but if you would like to book one in the future, then you can head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So that's what I have for you today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile 3, welcome to your reading. Let's get into your cards and see what kind of karma this person is going to get. What kind of karma is this person going to get? What kind of karma is this person going to get? Stars in the sky, limitless possibility, first breath, beginner's mind. We got joyful muse, inspiration, and perfect storm, the courage to step into life. So the first thing that is coming through for me is this person does a lot of comparing. They are always measuring themselves up, and there is this deep-seated insecurity inside of them. I'm also getting the message for some of them, and this could be multiple people crammed into a reading. It is a collective reading, but this person may have some kind of limited time to accomplish what they want. I feel like there's a lot of bitterness coming through from this person about what they accomplished, what they've done in life, and where they feel they should be. Again, this person is doing a lot of comparing, and in their mind, they feel like they should be at an elevated position. They feel like they should be treated with more respect than they're given. And the other thing coming through is it's almost like nothing is good enough for this person. They could be given the world and they're still going to find a way to complain about it. They're still going to be nasty because fundamentally, this person is just so like deeply envious. They're the kind of person that is always like taking stock, and it doesn't even matter what it is. One person could have like more cockroaches in their house and they would be jealous of the cockroaches. You know what I mean? They would be jealous of literally anything. This person just feeds off that. It's almost like what gets them up in the morning, what gets their day going, what gets their energy flowing and their blood pumping. Like they don't need coffee. They just think about someone else getting something and that sets them off. So I feel like for some of you guys, this person may have glommed onto you out of a sense of jealousy, or if you somehow caught their eye, it's because they do see you as a target, a threat, and someone who has something good going for you. It could also just be because you have positive energy. And I feel like this person is very like triggered by that. Like they literally hate innocence. They hate someone who has kind of a clean spirit and just a positive vibe to them. That really annoys them. They also hate anyone who has natural charisma. So anyone who can lead a room, anyone who can command attention or lead a conversation, that really gets under this person's skin. And Spirit is telling me this is why this person felt comfortable treating you this way. A big part of it was because they almost feel like you've done something wrong to them by existing, by having charisma, by taking the attention away from them. They feel like you've almost stolen something that's theirs. That's their attention. They're the only one who's entitled to that. Spirit is saying this goes back to like some kind of childhood or mother wound, like they didn't get enough attention from their parents at like a fundamental age. We got first breath, beginner's mind, and it's almost like they're still there. Or on the other side, they had parents who like overly doted on them, told them they were the center of the universe, and then going out into the world has been very jarring. I also feel like this person could have a very rigid set of beliefs around manners. Like it's almost like because they grew up in a, maybe for some of them, again, this is a collective reading, but they maybe grew up in a certain family that was strict with like certain types of manners or just judgmental, or they grew up in a different time or a different culture or whatever, but it's almost like they don't have the flexibility to realize someone else might act a different way, and they see someone just living their life but it's slightly different and they get very triggered and very upset. They're not capable to just be like, oh, okay, this person's going to do their own thing and they're different from me, but like that's cool. No, that is totally not cool in this person's mind. They may pretend to be open-minded, but they are super rigid in their thinking. And I feel like in a way they're almost in a constant sense of outrage. They're constantly being like, how could this person act this way? How could they talk this way? This is disgusting. This is outrageous. And it's almost like they, again, that fuels them. This sense of outrage, this sense of being annoyed, this sense of grievance that I feel like this person carries around with them. It's like they're looking for a problem. It's like they're looking for someone to get upset about. This could also be why they go after people who have a pure energy, because it's like, oh, that person might be an easier target, you know, than the mean other person who could give my energy right back to me. This person may go for people who seem sweet or nice. I feel like there's also just an opportunistic energy around them. They just are like a cockroach who's gonna like find a crack in the wall or a little like bit of plumbing it can crawl up or something like that. Any opening, any opportunity, this person will take it. They may also have jealousy around the way you look or adorn yourself or elements of your creativity, because I feel like this person, there's also an energy around them where they could pretend to be very creative, or they could be someone who like prides themselves on their outfits, talks about how into fashion they are, but it's almost like they don't have any original ideas. Like this person really wants to come off as creative, or they want to come off as bougie or high-end or having good taste, but really deep down they don't. It's very artificial. It's very like copying from everyone else, you know? And I feel like in a way for some of you guys, this person could have been inspired by you, or they could be very triggered and upset because they see you as someone who's genuinely creative. They see you as someone who does your own thing. This is the other thing, what I'm getting from you, pile 3, is this very carefree energy, almost like you do things your own way. You march to the beat of your own drum. You have your own genuine inspiration and things that inspire you, and like you're doing your own thing, and there's kind of this happy, carefree quality to you where I feel like you're not as intentional sometimes. You're just genuinely acting out of a place of like, oh, I really like this. And there's a purity there that people may be drawn to, a purity of intention. And I feel like this person just doesn't get that, because they're doing things for the end result. They're doing things to get attention, to get praise, to get power. And if they're having to use art or fashion or whatever to get there, then they're going to do that. But it's not genuine, and they kind of can't understand anyone who's genuine. Another thing coming through with this person is they may judge you on the basis of like, why is this person so stupid? Like, I feel like this person is very Machiavellian. They really are very devoid of empathy and kindness. And it's almost like they think people who are genuinely kind are dumb or stupid, or they think that people who are like sweet and nice and open and kind are just idiots, and they don't realize that maybe that's like an intentional choice and it has nothing to do with intelligence and more to do with morality. But this person sees it as almost like survival of the fittest. And they're like, wow, why is this person so weak? You know, why are they doing this? They must not understand what's at stake. This person may have grown up in a family that was just very cold-hearted and kind of encouraged them to just be like harsh as possible and just be like mean and just be selfish. I feel like this person has been around people who look at others very harshly as well. And again, that's just kind of how they view the world. Like in their mind, it's like it is what it is, and there's no fighting against it. And I feel like this person is naturally cruel as well. One thing that's coming through with karma is this person getting karma specifically from any children they may have or from their children situation in their life. I feel like for those people who, this pile 3 applies to, they're going to have really bad relationships with any children they have. And also the act of having kids, which is just so innately humbling, right? You're kind of having to prioritize someone else over you and think about their needs and whatnot. That is just going to be very upsetting for this person because they literally hate that. They hate having to think of anyone else, and they hate having to put themselves on the back burner. That just like offends this person on a deep level. And this is the thing, is when the children are younger, this person may be able to, they may actually sometimes enjoy parenting, because it's giving me narcissist vibes. So they may actually really enjoy parenting. They may enjoy like showing off the child and everyone being like, oh my gosh, you have such a cute kid, and being able to take the kid to like the Santa photo shoot at Christmas, or, the big Christmas family party, and everyone's giving attention to the child. And so they get attention. And they may really enjoy that period. But I feel like when their children get a mind of their own, that is going to boomerang so hard on this person. And it's going to be so humbling for them, because the child is going to really either leave them in the dust or want nothing to do with them, and going to really oppose them and going to really expose, because this person is so good at kind of covering their tracks, putting out a view to the world. Again, there's a very traditionalist structure coming through with this person. Like, I feel like, because of course there's different ways to be traditional, like traditional version in LA or in New York City is going to be different from traditional in Alabama or wherever, different countries. But the thing is, this person is good at fitting into whatever structure they're around and copying like the social values, copying how to dress. Again, they're very good at copying. They have like no independent inspiration. So this person is going to be really good at like covering their tracks and just fitting in and actually making a really good impression. But it's almost like the children are the one thing they can't control, and that is going to really hit them hard. This child may also kind of disown them or look down on them in some way. I'm getting the vibe, if this person is an opportunist and they're the kind of person that would like screw someone out of a business deal, or maybe like marry for money, and they have a child that then judges them of like, well, you were a gold digger. I grew up with money, you're new money. You know what I mean? And they may find that even though they thought they were the biggest snob, they end up raising a child that's a much bigger snob and like throws it in their face that like, you didn't have any money growing up, and actually you're new money, and dad is old money and he's better than you, or dad made his money and you just married into it, or something like this. Like, I feel like this child is going to view them very harshly, and this person is not going to be able to control that, and there may be some kind of estrangement happening. There may be some kind of separation that they have from the child, that it doesn't really irk them in the sense of like missing the actual child, but it irks them in terms of the public display. And whatever happens with the child, it's very frustrating for them. I'm getting that they just constantly are kind of tearing their hair out with this child. Let me get into these cards for you. What are going to be the karmic consequences, spiritual consequences for pile 3's person, Spirit? What are going to be the karmic and spiritual consequences for pile number 3, Spirit? Hostilities. Okay. They are accumulating so much bad karma. Look, as I'm saying that, hostilities and envy coming out, 2 of the most negative cards in this deck. Like, this person just operates on such a sense of envy, and the annoying thing is they're so disingenuous about it. I feel like they really cover it up. They really are good at covering their tracks and acting like they're, super nice. I wouldn't be surprised if this person is really passive aggressive, or they kind of put a smile on their face, or they're very appearance focus. And again, something bad could happen with their appearance as well. I'm seeing in my mind someone with like botched plastic surgery, something like that, where maybe they just literally physically look bad. This person's actually very physically insecure about how they look. And again, there's such a cognitive dissonance, especially as they age. It's going to be a problem. I'm not going to lie. There is an aspect of age being brought up for me. So if this person is already old, that could be something that really bothers them. Or as they're aging, it's just like this resentment about, I should look really good. And again, constantly comparing themselves. They're not the kind of person that can age and be like, oh, wow, I'm so supportive of younger women or younger men. And I had, my time when I was young, and good for them. They look fabulous. Like, this person doesn't have the maturity to do that. They're just going to resent it. They feel like it should be them. And again, this is maybe why they have such a problem with their children, now that I think about it, because I also feel like with their kids, what's coming through is just this real rage, almost like frustration, like, ugh, I am so annoyed by them, and like really angry at their children. But I feel like they don't feel like they can express that to anyone because they know people would judge, and they know that their kid didn't do anything. And honestly, the children may have a really hard time with with this parent as well, because this is giving me like toxic parent vibes, where like I feel like this is the kind of parent that would like lie about their kid or try to get their kid put into rehab or put into one of those like wilderness camps and just like try to deflect any family problems onto the child. And I feel like they're going to have some kind of roadblock, because usually those kinds of toxic people, they eventually get a child who is like a scapegoat, kind of like chain breaker type of energy, who's going to stand up to them. That's just like a karmic contract that often happens, and why souls will choose certain souls as a parent. And there will be a soul that's like, hey, let me take on this karma. Let me break this person. Let me push back so hard. I can be just as stubborn as you. And you know what, baby, let's go. And so they sign up to enter that family and like really highlight everything that's wrong and bring it out into the light. And that's often like the kryptonite for a narcissist, because then they have to see everyone noticing, and they have friends and family members asking like, wait, why haven't you talked to your son? Why haven't you talked to your daughter? Wait, so now, like, the daughter's missing from the Christmas card? That's a little weird. And it's a kind of humiliating thing for someone who only cares about appearance. So I feel like there is a vibe of this child just growing up to throw things back in their face, and really having to admit that they're not this sweet, kind, loving person that they try to be. Having all those tendencies brought into the shadows, because they do act like they're so nice. But again, people are going to question like, okay, if you're so nice, why do you not talk to your child? Why do you not talk to your daughter? Why do you not talk to your son? Like, that's a little weird that your son wants nothing to do with you, and you're such a great person and you're so sweet, and he just woke up one day, randomly decided not to talk to his mom. That's a little weird. It doesn't really make sense. So that's going to be something they're going to have to eventually answer for. And that's what really frustrates them, that they can't control the narrative and they can't come off as the good person. Let me get into these cards. Okay, so we got 7th chakra, Archangel Uriel. What is going to be this person's karma and spiritual consequences for their actions? Spirit. Contract. Attachment. Yes, with this contract card, what I'm hearing in my mind is just when everything seems completely under this person's control, just when they're at a place where they're like, I did it, I am in the perfect spot, I have all this power, and I feel this deep sense of achievement. Again, this is where the child may be aligned to enter into their life, or there's some kind of humbling experience that has to do with this person's reputation, and maybe them being humbled in that way, being humiliated, having everyone see what's going on, having everyone start noticing and asking questions and being like, okay, well, I don't know, you seem a little angry, or you seem off, or it's almost like the facade this person has been operating under just doesn't work as well. The other thing that's coming through, again, it keeps coming through, is aging. There is a sense of loss that this person has because at one time in their life, they were very cool, or they were fitting the beauty standard, or whatever. They were kind of like on a top tier. And for them, it's very humbling to go through the aging process and to see themselves become like less cool, or to see fashion trends move on. I feel like this person can be very rooted in the moment. Like they can be very, like they're not a changeable person. You know, they're not someone that like moves with the times and is like, oh, that's so cool that like people are wearing this now. And I used to wear this type of outfit, but let me change it up. And I love experimenting with my look. Again, they're very rigid deep down, and they kind of have this template of how the world should look, how people should be acting, that's based on so much of like their childhood, their formative years. And so they really have a hard time adjusting. Like if a style of jeans changes, or if, you know, a shoe style, like a shoe trend changes, this person is just going to be very rooted in the past and almost it's very jarring for them. Of course, this sometimes happens to everyone with age, but I feel like for them, because they put such a emphasis on being cool and being at the top of the social structure, it's very hard for them to adjust and kind of step back and just be like, oh yeah, well, things have moved on a little, and let me change, and let me switch some things up with my style, and let me, like, that's okay. People can do this differently, and good for them. They're very like, no, we should do it this way. This is the only way to do it. And again, judging everyone else, and then kind of like not understanding, like, why does no one care that I'm judging them? It's almost giving me the vibes of like, yeah, like someone who may have grown up in a different time or a different era, and they just can't conceptualize that like things have moved on. They can't conceptualize, or lived in, like, grew up in a different country or something, and they keep comparing like the new country they moved to the old country, and being like, wait, why does everyone act like this, or why are they eating this food? And they're very like disgruntled, and they're very like not adjusting, not being like, oh well, we ate like this in my country, or, you know, the country I used to live in, but that's cool. You guys eat this way, and like, I'll give it a shot. They're not open. They're very closed, and they're very like almost angry about people doing things differently and not recognizing them. So again, I feel like this is a big part of their karma too, is just seeing the world change and not being able to appropriately adjust. Let's see what karma this person is going to be getting. Broken heart. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like still at this person's like soul review, when they pass on to the other side, there's still a lot of karma that they're working through, meaning like they haven't fully been humbled in this lifetime, but they do have to go through a soul review at the end and then feel a lot of this pain. You know, this person can be so selfish and so self-centered that feeling empathy is very like rare for them to actually consider anyone else's perspective. And at the end of their life review, they're going to be shown that highlight reel of all the times they hurt people and the destructive things they did. That's also going to be like a big whammy for them, and their soul is going to realize how much of this they did out of insecurity, out of this sense of lack and not feeling good enough. Let me get into some karma, we don't need any more karma, right? But let me get into some tarot for you. Pile number 3. What is going to be the karmic consequences, spiritual consequences for pile number 3's person? So we got the 7 of Pentacles, the 10 of Pentacles. There could also be karma around money. There could be karma around feeling humbled with that. There could be karma around this person wanting some kind of public platform with the Knight of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune coming out together. Like they want people to pay attention to them. They want people to notice them, especially 6 of Wands. And they're just feeling more irrelevant. Again, I feel like this person, it's almost like they see themselves as like a VIP, and they feel like everyone should like care about their opinion. Like if they don't like a food, they feel like you like take it off the restaurant menu. I said I didn't like it. You know what I mean? That's like the mentality they have. It's so crazy, but that's how they view things, is like, I am the most important person here and everyone should value what I say. And my word goes. And I feel like as time goes on, especially, it's like this person, because deep down inside they are so rigid, they're afraid to put themselves out there and really take a risk and like give their voice or state their opinions or have any kind of public platform. So I feel like they kind of stay in the shadows, and then they resent the fact that like no one's listening, no one cares about them. Because again, in their mind, they feel like they should be center stage. They feel like people should be noticing, paying attention to them, and this kind of increasing irrelevance they have, again, it has to do a little bit with their age, feeling out of step. It's like, I feel like in their mind, again, maybe this is the karma with the children. They should have children that hang on their every word. They should have children that just listen to everything they say. If they tell them, you know, I don't like that outfit, the child is like, oh my God, let me run upstairs and change right now. Even when the child is like 25 and fully grown and an adult, right? And instead, I feel like this person's karma, it really is tied to maybe their fifth house. Maybe they have a Saturn fifth house, or you know, Saturn conjuncting their moon or something. I don't know. But I feel like a lot of this has to do with how they relate to their children, and feeling like the children don't actually like or respect them that much. It's just very, and the children almost like rolling their eyes. I mean, like, oh, you don't understand. That's really frustrating for this person, because again, they see themselves as extremely smart, and they also view their way of doing things as the right way of doing things. So not listening to them and just disregarding is like a huge slap in the face. I also feel like every day, just almost like the way the world changes gets under this person's skin. I keep getting like they're in a constant state of annoyance with how things are unfolding in the greater world. So like in the political sphere or in the social sphere, maybe they are very frustrated by current events, which of course we all can get that way. So I'm not judging, but this is just what's coming through as part of their karma, is really not being able to adjust, and maybe even having an image of themselves that's kind of outdated. Again, I feel like this person does think of themselves as very cool, very hip, very wise, very smart, very on top of things, you know? And for them, part of the frustration is like seeing that like no one thinks they're smart. Like maybe this is the kind of person, you know, like like who was considered like super politically cool and hip back in the 60s. And then their views today are actually kind of outdated. You know how like people used to say things that it was like, oh, I never see color. And now that's not really considered a flex, or like, oh, wow, you're so wise that you don't see color. And people are like, you mean you don't see race? That's kind of weird that you don't even notice, like, you have an eye issue. How do you not notice, you know, someone's color? And so it's pivoted from that being like, wow, you're so wise and you're so smart, to like, oh, that's kind of a weird comment and it's a little regressive. So my point is, it doesn't have to be that, but it could be something like that, where this person kind of prides themselves, sees themselves as very progressive, sees themselves as very on top of things and cool, and like, well, I think this, and isn't that so progressive of me? And everyone's like, no, it's not actually progressive. In fact, it's like super outdated, you know? So I feel like this person does a lot of that, like trying to stay on top of things, or not even making that effort, just expecting everyone to give them like a parade. And meanwhile, they're parroting talking points from like 40 years ago, or they're wearing fashion from so long ago. Again, I don't know if this has already happened for some of you guys. This could be an older energy, or this could be an energy coming down the pipeline, but this person feels very of a certain time. Like they're the kind of person that when they were young, they were very hip, they were very on top of it, they were very of the moment. Like if they're a millennial age person, they were very millennial. If they were Gen X, they were super Gen X. If they're a boomer, they were very boomer. If they're Gen Z now, then they're very Gen Z now. They're very on top of things. But again, as the aging happens, so it's not about their current age, but as whatever aging happens, they're just not able to adjust. They're not able to move with the times and switch up their energy and be like, okay, you know, this is the different thing about the world now, and let me adjust my behavior a little bit. It's like they are just so rooted in like, why isn't this cool anymore? And I thought that this was going to give me clout, and I thought people were going to think I was awesome. And instead they're like rolling their eyes and kind of laughing at me. And that really bothers this person, because they feel like they should get attention, respect, regard. They should have people like really pleased by them and kind of like idolize them. And that definitely doesn't happen. So that is what I have for you, pile Number 3. I really hope that resonated, guys. If it does, let me know down in the comments. I always love hearing from you, hearing your thoughts, stories, your reactions. So let me know what you think. Also, make sure to give this reading a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe. All of that really helps the channel. And if you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. There are over 100 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. There is so much content to choose from over on Patreon. I just posted a reading all about messages from your body, but there's, like I said, so much content that you can go through. There's also a message about an exciting thing happening in your future. But like I said, lots of content to choose from, and then you get to be the first to watch my YouTube videos. I'm also posting more on Patreon and kind of slowing down here on YouTube. So if that interests you, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description and join me on Patreon. And for right now, I'm also not really doing private readings. I'm going to resume them in a couple months, but just taking a bit of a break. So for right now, no private readings, but if you would like to book one in the future, then you can head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So that's what I have for you today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will be back very soon with another reading. Take care, guys. Bye.